Monday Night Raw starts off with Adam Pearce calls out Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins comes out with himself and a bunch of masked men. They get in the ring and they try to play a mind trick of where Seth Rollins, which I thought was very confusing at the beginning of the show because I'm like, there was no need for Seth Rollins to do that when he could have just got in the ring. I didn't understand that, but he eventually reveals himself, and Adam Pearce basically ends up saying that what Seth Rollins is doing with the masked men needs to stop because eventually, whenever Division do catch him, when eventually his plan fails and he's not medically cleared, they could potentially end the career of Seth Rollins. Then you get Division, they come out, try to attack Seth Rollins. Then they repeat what they did to Adam Pearce. They get all the masked men get in the ring. They all start moving around to cause confusion, and then they all got away. I like what they did there. I understood it there when they did it when the Vision came out, because that makes sense. The Vision is trying to attack Seth Rollins. But when he did it with Adam Pearce, that just didn't make sense. I just felt like that was just a bit extra. It just felt very random and just felt like why. I just didn't understand it. But then you get the Usos, LA Knight, they come out, attack the Uso on the Vision. LA Knight came out first, then the Usos makes the save. So that was the end of that for the most part. Very interested to see I'm not gonna say I'm very interested because I'm really not interested, but I am curious to see what's the plan for Mania, because if it ain't Braun Breaker for Seth Rollins, honestly, I do not care. Like, I really don't. And I don't know what you do with the Usos at Mania. Now, potentially the Usos could be involved in something with Roman due to what happened in the main event of the show. So that could be their place. But if they're not going to have because I don't know what match would really be worthy of WrestleMania. Because I'm sorry, the Vision versus Seth Rollins is not worthy unless you're doing Braun Breaker. And then honestly, maybe they could do a tag match because I don't see how well where LA Knight is on the Mania card if he's not facing the Vision, because it doesn't look like he's going to face Brock Lesnar based off this episode of Raw. Well, to be fair, Brock Lesnar was on the show, but who knows? But it looks like LA Knight is still going to be focused on the Vision still. So maybe Seth, LA Knight paired together and then they face the Vision, maybe. But we'll see how this plays out. But I'm hoping eventually this story does end, because the Masked Man angle does need to end. It does need to end because it's not a good angle. It's overplayed, and we need to end this. We need to end this very soon. We end up getting a women's gauntlet match between Io Sky, Lara Valkyria, Raquel, Asuka, Bailey, and Ivy Now. It was a solid match, really solid match. Started off with Io Sky and Lara Valkyria. They put on a solid one-on-one back and forth. What Io Sky does end up picking up the victory. Then Raquel ended up getting in the ring. She puts on a good showing, but eventually she ended up getting eliminated. She ended up getting eliminated as well. After her elimination, though, because it was due to interferences from Liv Morgan, but then Stephanie Vaquer also came out, attacked Liv, they brawled, that distracted Raquel to allow Io Sky to pick up the victory. Then this eventually led to Raquel getting frustrated, attacked Io Sky. This allowed Ivy Now to pin Io Sky, which was, I wouldn't say shocking, but very interesting choice, because Io Sky doesn't get pinned often. The fact that they allow Ivy Now to do that was an interesting choice, to be honest with you. Now, it was due to the help of Raquel, but still, the fact that someone like Rhea Ripley can't pin her, but they allow Ivy Now, even though it was due to help, is very interesting nonetheless. Then it eventually led to Bailey getting in there, defeats Ivy Now. Then the last participant was Asuka, which Bailey does end up picking up the victory. So she is now the #1 contender for AJ Lee Intercontinental Women's Championship, and that's going to happen next week, which I like that she won, but I also don't like that she won because she's not winning. She's not, like, Bailey is one of my favorites, and she's been so disrespected for the past year. It's like, we're really about to have her lose another big match. Like, oh my God. It's like, it doesn't really matter, because any person who would have won this match, I would have wanted them to beat AJ Lee. It makes sense for AJ to win. I understand she's going to Mania as champion. It makes sense. It makes perfect sense. I do hope this does lead to something more, but I know most likely this probably won't lead to nothing more. Now, some people are assuming that this could lead to a heel turn by Lyra. I don't know if I will want that yet. I feel like they should build on it more, because what they've been doing, they haven't really done much with Lyra or Bailey to really make people invest, in my opinion. Plus, it just wouldn't make sense for Lyra to turn heel, because she doesn't have a real reason to turn heel, because every single time Bailey tries to uplift Lyra, Lyra lifts Bailey and tells her that she should go after opportunities. Bailey hasn't been a bad friend or been selfish or any way to really make a reasoning for her. And you can't even play a jealousy angle. So I just feel like it just wouldn't make sense for Lyra to cheat, to like turn on Bailey yet, personally. So we'll see how the match plays out next week against AJ Lee. I think the match will be good. I want Bailey to win, but I know she's not winning, so I'm already going to be prepared for that. But nonetheless, this was a good victory for Bailey. We end up getting a Judgment Day segment. We end up getting Dominic Mysterio. He's with the rest of the Judgment Day. He calls out Finn Balor to come to the ring. Finn comes out. Dominic, of course, blames Finn for the reason why he lost his IC title. Finn ends up apologizing, ends up saying that he's right. He is the reason he lost the IC title. All he was doing was trying to teach Dom a lesson. He was trying to teach him a lesson on how to be his own man, because he ends up mentioning how Dom said that he wanted to be the greatest Mysterio ever, and ends up mentioning that the only way to do that is that you got to start learning how to do things on your own. And then he ends up saying that I'm starting to understand that your father was right about you and that you are a selfish prick. I think he said spoiled prick. That's what I think he said. Then you end up getting Dom. He pushes Finn Balor. Finn Balor ends up kicking him, and then eventually this just led to the whole Judgment Day jumping him eventually. The first person that actually attacked JD was, Finn was JD, which was very surprising. I thought JD was going to side with Finn, so that's very interesting. The rest of the Judgment Day jump him, and then, Judgment Day stand tall. So now we got a full babyface Finn Balor, which is a good thing. He's officially out of the group. Let's hope this eventually leads to something more substantial for Finn Balor. I'm not the biggest Finn Balor fan. Like, I like Finn. I do think his fan base dick ride him a bit. But I do want better for Finn. I do think Finn should be in better situations. I do think he should be built up a bit more, because I don't think he should be losing as many matches as he does, though. But I'm very excited for this, because we finally got the breakup of Finn and Dom, so I hope this eventually leads to all of them breaking up. Let's hope that. But we can't get too excited, because knowing Triple H, this feud isn't going to end at WrestleMania. Knowing Triple H, this is going to be a 6 to 8 month feud that lasts all the way to SummerSlam. So we can't just assume that they're just going to only have the match at WrestleMania. This could easily lead to a SummerSlam match. Like that, with Triple H booking, it could easily go that long. So let's hope not. Let's hope that it just ends at Mania. Now, when it comes to this Judgment Day angle, I'm very curious to see what Roxanne thinks of this and where she's going to side. Is she going to side with Finn Balor? Is she going to side with Dom and him? That's a very interesting question, because I'm very curious to see, because I don't think Finn is going to be the only person that's going to be by himself. I just don't see it. And plus, they have been telling this story with Stephanie and Liv Morgan, where Stephanie keeps saying that Liv Morgan needs the help of others. Liv Morgan relies on her man, relies on the Judgment Day, hides behind the Judgment Day. So I'm very curious, is they're going to play that same story with Liv Morgan, where she eventually is going to try to turn babyface and try to do it. I'm very curious to see there. Now, there's one thing I do want to mention. Finn Balor in this promo tried to say that he tried to teach Dom lessons for 2 years, which I do find very interesting, because the way that they just flipped this entire story as if Finn Balor was just the good guy this whole time is absolutely hilarious, because no, he's not. Like, Finn Balor has been a good guy for like a month or two. Like, he is not a good guy in this entire feud at all. Like, for 2 years, Finn Balor has tried to sabotage Dom. He has tried to manipulate Liv Morgan. He sneakily added Roxanne into the Judgment. Like, Finn Balor is not a good guy. Finn Balor was doing shady things as well. So I love how they try to just twist the narrative and try to act like Finn Balor was always this nice guy. No, they're all bad guys in this situation. They all are, to be honest with you. Finn Balor just randomly decided to not want to be a cheater and not want to do things the cheap way anymore. But they're all bad guys. Now, I understand why WWE is doing that. They need a babyface. I'm not really that critical of it, but I just did find it funny how Finn Balor just came off like he was a mentor to Dom this whole time. No, you weren't, dude. You was doing dirty things too. But I'm glad that they officially kicked out Finn Balor out the group, so we'll see how this plays out. We end up getting Oba Femi versus Rusev. This match was solid. It ended very quickly, which I was very surprised by. I didn't expect this match to be like a 20-minute banger or anything, but I thought they'd at least get like 12 minutes at least. But this match lasted like 5 minutes, maybe even shorter, and Oba looked very dominant. Oba defeated Rusev very quickly, which I'm not that mad at, because Oba should be presented as a monster. So if he's able to beat someone like Rusev, who is big, strong, just like him, hey, I'm cool with it. It makes Oba look strong. So hopefully they're building this up to eventually go after Brock Lesnar, because that's the only match that Oba should be going after. That it's not that hard, WWE. It's not that hard. Just do Oba versus Brock. I don't even care for Brock Lesnar like that, but If you're going to have them, which you're going to have them at Mania, just do Oba and Brock. That simple. If you're gonna have them, just have them do Oba and Brock. Have them job for Oba and move on. I don't. It's not that difficult. So I'm hoping this is what they're building towards because that's the only thing that makes sense for Oba Fenby towards WrestleMania. But nonetheless, this match was solid, like I said. But I'm just hoping this eventually leads to Oba versus Brock at Mania. Now, we do end up getting the main event. We get CM Punk and the Usos. The Usos are frustrated at Punk because of the promo last week mentioning their uncle towards Roman Reigns. The Usos want them to apologize. Punk constantly refuses to apologize. He basically ends up kept on moving the narrative each time that the Usos wanted him to apologize. He ends up talking about that he respects their family, mentions their family history. Then he starts mentioning Roman. He kept on moving the goalposts each time they just wanted an apology. But then the Usos kept telling him that it's not about Roman. This is strictly about their uncle. That's all they want is an apology about their uncle. Then Punk ends up saying he does apologize, but ends up twisting it, ends up saying that he apologized that Roman treated them so bad for so wrong, that Roman never apologized to you guys, and that he constantly manipulates you guys. And then he's mentioning that Roman never apologized to them. Roman never apologized to Cody for mentioning Dusty. Then eventually you end up getting the Usos attack CM Punk. They end up throwing like a jet. They end up just like punching him to the ground, and that was really the end of the segment. Okay, now a lot of people are defending Punk in this situation, saying that Punk is right, which I don't agree with because look, yes, did Roman do the things that Punk said? Yes. Does he have a certain case? Yes, but two wrongs does not make a right. Just because one person does it, that doesn't mean you should do it. With Punk's logic, all Punk is doing, like when Punk was saying the things he was saying, I was agreeing with him to a degree, but I also felt like I was thinking, like, are you a child? Like, the way he was saying, like, the things he was saying came off like a child would do. Like, you did this, so I should be able to do it. Like, no, that's not how that works. Like, that's like saying that if one dude cheats on his wife, you should cheat on your wife. Like, that's basically what Punk was saying. Like, no, that's not how that works. Just because Romy did it, that doesn't mean you should do it. By that logic, you're a copycat. Like, what? And then you end up mentioning that Roman copied you. You literally said in your own promo that Roman copied you by getting Paul Heyman. So you're literally copying Roman Reigns. Like, that's what I thought the entire time. I get where he was coming from. I just felt like that wasn't a good argument because like that sounds like what children do. Like what are we talking about? Like I get what he was saying because he isn't wrong, but that doesn't make it right though. Like two wrongs doesn't make it right. Just because Roman did it doesn't mean you do it. Plus, Roman is a heel from a business standpoint. From actually looking in, Roman is a heel. Him disrespecting Dusty makes sense because Roman is a heel. Him disrespecting his family, it's wrong, but he's a heel. Punk is a face, so when a face does it, it's like, what are you doing? Like, typically baby faces don't go that far. Now, I don't mind Punk saying the things about Roman. I personally don't. It makes for great television. I don't personally care. But I just thought it was funny when Punk mentioned that, because I'm like, bro, like, just because he did it doesn't mean you should do it. Like, bro, like, you're just copying him at that point. Like, what are we talking about? Like, that doesn't make sense. But nonetheless, I do like where they're going with this. This could potentially lead to the Usos reuniting with Roman, potentially start reforming the bloodline again, which I'm not mad at. If they reform that could be an interesting story, actually. Roman potentially wins, potentially reuniting the Usos at WrestleMania, basically recreating the bloodline. I don't hate that story, actually. I think that could be an interesting narrative. Roman will be on the show next week, which I'm excited about. This show overall, it was a solid show. It's very weird. The show was a solid show, but this also felt like a show that you can miss but can't miss. It's very weird. Like there's things on the show that happen where it's like if you didn't watch it, you're fine. But there's also things on the show that if you didn't watch it, you kind of need to, like the Judgment Day breaking up, like Bailey becoming a number one contender and stuff like that. So there were things that happened that were important, but there's also some filler as well. So it's very weird. But overall show was solid. You guys let me know your overall thoughts, opinions down below. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Make sure you hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of my content. But yeah, that's it.